Hi Mandy! So first up, I have to say, your responses to the bootcamp notes have been my all-time favourite to read so far, and there's one opening statement that just within the first paragraph just completely blew me away, and it's when you said, I have a bit of a ghetto side, but I also bake cookies and do complete white girl shit in the fall. I just loved that. I just thought it was such a visual picture that you've painted with your answers here, which is perfect for what we want to do when creating your visual brand message. So it really was very great to read through and has given me a real good insight into your personality, who you are, what you do, and how I can help you convert that into this first stage of your kind of launch brand design, which is looking at the colours that you use in your design and how to use the colour psychology to really connect with who you are and who your perfect customers are, so that we can get your visual message in line with your verbal message. So before I dive into the wonderful world of colours for you, here are a few kind of notes on what I've pulled out from your notes on the brand bootcamp, and this is what I've used to really form the kind of decisions around the colours that we will be using in your brand. So first up, a few key themes that really sprung out to me were around being witty and quirky and generous and passionate and inspiring and insightful and intoxicating. That was a really interesting word that kind of came out. I think it's got quite a lot of story in that word in itself. But all about being kind of all in, changing lives with a deep connection, thinking differently, reprogramming people and bringing in that kind of science and magic element. So the core words for you that I pulled out from your notes is inspire, laugh and connect. And these were really based around a few key phrases that also popped up. So some of the key phrases that I've pulled out here for your brand personality and what you're launching were: I am super soft and squishy, all up in my feelings, but at the same time I could cut a bitch if need be. Like a Saturday Night Live of personal development. Hardcore, deep transformations, but we laugh and cry through the process. And then, I'm not sure this is something that you particularly wrote yourself, but really for me, the whole theme, overriding theme and key phrase that came out from this was like no nonsense magic. To me, that kind of summed up the experience of what working with you would be like, and so the experience that we want to create in your visual brand. So from this, I've pulled together your base colours. Now your base colours are the core colour combinations that are most suited to your brand based on the psychological connections with those colours. Of course, there are very, very many variations in each of these colours, and I'll go into that in a little bit when we actually pull out suggestions for your brand colour palette. But the main core colours we'll be looking at are indigo. So like an indigo-y purple colour, because that's got the mix of kind of integrity and sincerity. It's an imaginative, creative colour that inspires the kind of spiritual, intuitive vision side of people. And it's very much a colour that's associated with kind of the commitment to the truth and self. So that covered your kind of magic unicorn woo-woo slight side. And then a contrasting colour to that in its messaging, which will work really well for your brand meanings, was a red kind of stroke pink colour, because red is a real powerful colour. It's a colour that really evokes deep emotions on the kind of love and fear side. It's a survival colour, it's a colour of energy and strength and action. And it's also a very kind of attention-seeking colour in a way. It really does give a bold impact and make people pay attention to you. On the pink side of red, you just kind of soften that off a little bit by including kind of the unconditional feeling of love and compassion and understanding. So pink is obviously a softer version of red, but there are so many different kind of colour variations in that spectrum, all play on that variation of the powerful deep emotion, the love and fear, the survival, the strength, and the kind of compassion and understanding side. Now the final colour would be yellow. So yellow is an all-round happy, cheerful, optimistic, friendly, fun kind of colour, but it's also really quite empowering for confidence, and it's a colour that automatically, when you look at it, it just really helps lift people's spirits, and that to me felt like quite a key part of who you are and what you do. So those are the three core colours. Now, as I mentioned briefly, as with all colours, there are so many different variations in the spectrum for those colours. So you've got everything varying from the very light tones, the soft, muted, deep, dark tones, and you've also got kind of bright and vivid tones. Now, in general, the deeper, lighter, kind of soft, muted colours are more associated with high-level offerings, and the bright, vivid, strong colours are more associated with lower level offerings. That could either be based on price or positioning. So if you really want your brand to be perceived as a higher level offering, then you should really be swaying to the softer, lighter, muted, deeper tones of a colour. If you are more focused on the kind of lower end and you want it to be seen more accessible and maybe a lower priced item, then bright, vivid colours will work really well for you. So that's just a slight note on using tones within these colours that we've chosen. Now going into your core colour palette, these are some suggestions that I would make on using those three base colours and how you can combine them in various different ways to create an overall brand colour palette for your launch. So you can see at the top we've got options. We've got option A, which has more of the pinky red, bright red colour, and the real dark indigo blue. And then I've added some softer, more neutral colours there, because it's always good to have a couple of neutral colours to offset the bright colours. And the yellow we've got here is a real kind of goldy yellow, so it's a much deeper colour. In the other options, the yellows get lighter, and of course I've got some variations then on the reds for you. So if you wanted to sway more towards that kind of powerful deep red colour, or if you wanted to soften it slightly, in option B we've got more of a kind of coral colour which brings in a lot more of the pink, so that's a lot more softer. You can kind of see when you look at that palette option, it has a more soft feel to it than the top one. And option C and D as well, again varying the shades that we can use within those three colours. So really that is the starting point for your colour combinations for your launch brand. Have a little look through these, have a little play with those colours and see what kind of feelings and emotions they really bring out for you, and how they will fit with your perfect customers for your launch. Now they are the core colours, so we know that we're covering you've got the basics covered here by using those three core colours for the psychological kind of connections, and it's really up to you what kind of shades and tones you use of this, depending on that kind of experience, the kind of experience that you want to create within your launch. So I hope that you have found that useful, and of course if you've got any questions just let me know, and if you would like to take it any further at all, then I would absolutely love to work with you one-to-one, because I think you just sound like someone who I would absolutely love working with. So if you would like to explore any possible situations where we could kind of work together one-to-one on your launch design, then just let me know and I will be happy to have a chat with you and see if we could be a good fit and if I can kind of help you with your launch design. So hopefully speak to you again very soon.